AppleSpike. Now I know that sounds like a drink, right? A drink you get at the bar, but it's not. AppleSpike is actually short for AppleJack and Spike from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And the reason AppleSpike is short for AppleJack and Spike is it's a shipping term, shipping as in romance and love, of basically seeing these two be together. But why? Why would anyone feel that these two should be together? Well, quite honestly, because of the compatibility that they see in the series. See, everybody has their own theories, legit canons or head canons, whatever, or fanons as they call them, fan canons, of what characters should be with who because of what they represent and how they interact. A lot of fans pretty much figure that eventually Rarity and Spike are probably going to end up together by the show's end. But there are a lot of fans that are hoping otherwise. In fact, I even mentioned in my recent live stream about shipping of characters that there is a possibility that just because we hope for, a lot of us predict and hope for Spike to be with Rarity, it could go a different route. And what I mean is they could end up having Spike be with AppleJack. Now, everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody has a right to what ships they want to support and see happen and become reality. But why AppleJack and Spike? What's so special about it? Well, quite honestly, what's special about Spike and AppleJack is in the eyes of a lot of fans, AppleJack doesn't manipulate Spike. She doesn't talk down to him. She doesn't use him for her own wants or needs. She treats him as a very good friend. She talks to him straight up. She's honest with him, and she doesn't hold nothing back or hide anything. And some would point out that Spike is somewhat the same way, especially when it comes to AppleJack. But is there more to that? Some would say yes. In fact, fellow fans like Disney Fanatic here on YouTube, amongst others, point out certain moments in the series throughout its near-decade run where you could pretty much see in their own minds moments between the two that pretty much confirm these two work together and are compatible together. I mean, Disney Fanatic did 2 videos entitled AppleJack and Spike Moments. The first video was between seasons 1 to 3. The other video was between seasons 4 and 7. And, excuse me there. And there is no doubt there are some moments that, from a headcanon perspective, kind of showcases Spike and AppleJack, being together, kind of, working off each other in a legit, honest way. I mean, some people point out Ticketmaster as the first real indication, especially with the ending, with AppleJack giving Spike kind of a look, if you will, and then following after him afterwards in a playful way. Some would point out Spike at your service. Some would point out other moments. Spike's reaction to AppleJack becoming Apple Jewel temporarily in simple ways. Some would point out the moment when the entire main cast in Shadowplay saw the holographic imagery of the past with the pillars and the pony of shadows, and Spike basically hiding behind AppleJack for protection. Along with many other moments. There are so many moments out there, I guess, that it's hard to even keep count. But the ultimate question is, why? Why AppleJack and Spike? Why do fans want AppleJack and Spike or AppleSpike to happen? Why do they want it to happen? Why do they support it? Well, it's like I said earlier, I think it's because of the fact that AppleJack, in their mind, unlike Rarity, doesn't use feminine charms to manipulate anybody. She's straight up honest. She'll tell it like it is. She's not going to back down. And some see similar traits with Spike, like he's not afraid to, kind of admit the truth and tell it like it is. And there are moments, there's no doubt. People look at Scaremaster as being an example of where Spike twice asked AppleJack, hey, do you know what's going on, or do you know what's going on? So it's like they can communicate. I think the main reasoning people like to ship these two together is they communicate well off each other. They have no problem, talking with each other about certain things. And that's probably true. However, you can't tell me that the creative staff doesn't know about this, because they do. The creative staff knows about this because when you go back to Best Gift Ever, and after the main 7, if you will, are done drawing out their names from AppleJack's hat, who does Spike initially end up with? Rainbow Dash. But eventually, through a fast talk trade with Fluttershy, he ends up getting Rarity. Now, Rarity reveals later on that she has AppleJack. Okay, fine. But then, the big reveal, after Spike does his fast talk trade with Fluttershy, the big reveal by AppleJack of who she has, she ends up revealing she has Spike. And the reason I bring that up is for a reason. You see, Jim Miller recently said in a Q&A to me, he answered one of my questions, that he and the rest of the creative staff are very much aware of the shippers. In other words, they're very aware of the fans that want to ship certain characters, whether they're ships that are hinted at, teased, officially acknowledged and made, or semi-officially made and acknowledged in the series. They know about the shippers. They know about the shippers that want to ship certain characters because of what they see on screen, and through their own headcanon, this ship makes sense. And that includes AppleSpike. And the reason I bring that up is because when you take a look at the fact that Spike eventually gets Rarity, and Rarity has AppleJack, and then AppleJack reveals she has Spike, this a little bit of an Easter egg that you may have not noticed. Because when Jim Miller told me that they were aware of the shippers, that whole situation where Rarity has AppleJack, Spike has Rarity, and AppleJack has Spike is a Easter egg nod towards the fans by saying Rarijack, that Rarity having AppleJack is a nod, a symbolic nod to the Rarijack shippers. Spike finally getting Rarity is, of course, a nod to the Sparity shippers. And then AppleJack getting Spike is a nod to the AppleSpike shippers. So, so according to Jim Miller, they're very aware. And by putting that little Easter egg in there, or reference in there, is pretty much evident enough they know about the AppleSpike shippers, amongst many others. But in the end, the question is, will AppleSpike actually happen? I would say that's up in the air. Because like I said in my live stream, it's up to the creators. Do they go with the obvious choice, which is Sparity and Spike at the end, maybe with a future scene as an epilogue scene to close out the series, and then they show Spike with his special sun pony and they have a family? Do they go that obvious route, or do they surprise us and say, you know what, we're going to give Spike AppleJack, we're going to put AppleJack and Spike together? That could happen too. No one really knows. But potentially, could it happen? I would say yes. Is it legitimately going to happen? Can't say. Because all evidence points to Rarity and Spike. But things can change. Things can actually happen in a way that really would surprise a lot of us. But is AppleSpike still plausible? Absolutely. In the comics, Absolutely. In fan fiction, web animation, fan animations, absolutely. Fan/web comics, absolutely. It's still very plausible. In other words, it's up to the fans themselves. It's, everybody has a right to ship who they want to ship and like what they want to like. And if there are those out there that like AppleJack and AppleSpike as an item, more power to them. But the question is, will it happen? Will it eventually occur? That's up in the air. Will the creative staff take that opportunity? Who knows? It's up to them. And if they want to give us a twist, to quote Silverquill in that recent collab review they did of Computer Warriors, with a twist, if they want to go the with the twist route, then that's up to them. So we'll have to wait and see. Overall, though, I think it can. I think obviously, obviously it's it's the fans. In the end, I should say, it's whatever they decide to go with. But again, like I said, fans have a right to ship what they want to ship. So that's really all I can say on it, guys. But let me know what you think. Do you think AppleJack and AppleSpike potentially could happen? Do you think it's reasonable? Or do you think maybe it's hypocritical that fans would want Spike to be with someone like AppleJack and not with Rarity? Let me know down below. Comment if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later.